Barcelona. If they don't see any improvement after Barcelona, then they have to give up the season.
Yeah.
The season will now become a two-horse race between the Red Bulls and Ferrari.
Yeah. So let's zoom into your event tomorrow. How people expected to join you to watch very early in the morning? What time should they wake
Yes,
up?
I mean this is not the first time we're doing early morning race.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
We've done it for the past 3 years, and we're going back to Labadi for the first early morning race. This year we are splitting the early morning race into two. One will be at Labadi Beach Hotel, and the other one is going to be at the Platinum Bay Hotel. So tomorrow, the doors at Labadi Beach Hotel Umanye opens at 4 a.m. in the morning. But then again, Labadi is giving our guests a staycation rate. We are getting a weekend rate of $169. So people are actually checking in today and watch the race at dawn and then enjoy breakfast on a Sunday morning at Labadi Beach Hotel. So it's not just going to be the race. After the race, we are still going to have breakfast at Labadi. And all of this will be a beautiful experience by courtesy of Heineken and Labadi.
Yes. Would you want to acknowledge our sponsors for
Oh
this
yes, I
event
mean,
before we move on?
as usual, our best of the best sponsors in Ghana, our partners in Ghana, DSTV, Multi-Choice Ghana Limited, Multimedia, as usual. You guys have been our partners from day one. And then Heineken, as usual, is always supporting Formula One in Ghana because they are also the global partners for Formula One as well. And they give us a lot of support in Ghana. And so this year, as usual, we are having a lot of locations coming on board. But tomorrow is a dawn race. We can only contain one location at the Labadi Beach Hotel where we can only gather. It's a dawn race. For security reasons, we are all going to be at Labadi Beach Hotel.
Okay. All right. We understand that there are some people who are, checking in tonight.
Yes.
Yeah. They will just come and hang around, have a few,
Hang around, have some
hang
fun.
around a bit and wait for the dawn rather than go home and come back at 5 a.m.
Exactly. But Gary, it will surprise you. A lot of people still driving at 5 a.m. at Labadi Beach
Wow.
Hotel. The last time we had a Labadi Beach Hotel experience at dawn race, George will attest to this one. It was raining at dawn and people were still coming in.
The love
The
for
rain was
the love
coming
for
down.
sports and then in general and then the love for F1 in particular. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah, yeah.
as we like to do, Kwabna, I mean, we are looking forward to tomorrow, but can you preview what is next after tomorrow so that people can mark it in their calendars?
Oh, okay. So as usual, we're going to have a few outdoor races, driving races coming up after tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
We're also working on a very, very big event, a car wash event, which is going to end the season. And
Sounds
also,
exciting, eh?
a lot of people are traveling now. Ghana has qualified for Qatar 2022. Initially, we were taking people to the last Grand Prix, which is in Abu Dhabi. And Formula One had to bring their races forward because of the Qatar World Cup.
Exactly,
Formula One
yes.
will usually end in December, but this year they are ending in November because of the World Cup.
Yeah.
Initially, we did a package just for the World for Formula One Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and then Black Stars qualified for the World Cup. So now our patrons are now asking for a double package because the World Cup is starting the weekend right after Formula One.
Yeah.
So now our patrons are now asking for a double package where they can go to F1 in Abu Dhabi and then fly over to Qatar for the World Cup, the Ghanaian Games. So we are working with our partners, as usual, with Advance Travel to try and come up with another package for those who are asking for the double package, even though we are still doing the single package. And this year we have a lot of Formula One viewing party members. We have a lot of venues coming on. Kumasi is still going on. Takrady is coming on. We now have Cape Coast. We now have Tema also coming on, and Spintex Road also coming on. So all those races in the afternoon and evenings, we'll still have races in Takrady, Cape Coast, Accra, and Kumasi.
Wicked. Now let me tell you something. I returned from Doha 5 days ago or so. If you get to the Doha airport,
Yeah.
there is a desk that is actually promoting a double dose. They've created a desk promoting
Yes.
the double dose. So promoting the Formula One if you want to chill in Doha for the Formula One and the World Cup. So there are two things you can do. For those who already have their tickets and stuff bought for, they are enticing you with a reduced discount. You just show them your pass, your accreditation, or whatever
Yeah.
it is that you have. Then they give you an instant discount to encourage you to stay in Doha for the next weekend for the start of the World Cup. Now remember, this is Doha where hotels are also booked and filled already. As
Oh,
at
yeah.
now, yes. So
Oh, yeah.
that's what they are doing. So Charlie, you guys, I beg you, if you have to do that, you have to be fast because Charlie, the rooms no share that day like that. You have to be quick and
Oh,
book
yeah.
everything in
Even,
advance. Yeah.
even when it comes to Abu Dhabi, even when it comes to Abu Dhabi, we were struggling with hotels, but we finally got the hotels booked. And now our partners are now working on a double package to try and get people to the Formula One in Abu Dhabi and from there fly them to Doha. I know for sure we will get hotels in Qatar booked because these guys are working day and night to get patrons into Qatar after watching Formula One. Even though some people are still just going for the Formula One and coming back to Accra. Because look, as much as I want to go to the World Cup, usually when Ghana qualifies for the World Cup, Accra is also fun.
Yeah, I can imagine. Anyway, all the best, and I'm sure you're going to catch some sleep or something ahead of tomorrow's 5 a.m. And so you guys enjoy yourselves. As usual, our cameras will be there to cover it. All the best, guys, and have a good race tomorrow.
Thank you very much. Thank you, America.
Kwabena Poku is a regular Formula One guy who has turned into a Formula One journalist for us as they convene every weekend during Formula One weekend to watch the races at Labadi Beach, our partners, and other places around Accra and across the country. This is the Joy Sports Link. Coming up next, we have a former national team player on the line. Hello, Mohamed Gago.
Hello.
Hi. Yes, I'm just previewing you coming. We'll be with you in a second.
Joy 99.7 FM.
Keep the frequency clear. 99.7. The station with the best.
I love this station.
Joy 99.7 FM.
It's 12:32 in our studios, 28 minutes to the top of the hour here on Joy 99.7 FM. As the Joy Sports Link just gone by was a Formula One update after the qualifiers for tomorrow's Grand Prix in Melbourne. Charles Leclerc and Max Verstappen, and also it should be interesting. Head over to Labadi Beach if you want to watch with the boys. 5 a.m. it is, and it's a great Formula One community that's growing and growing and growing. Now, though, let's do some football because this week we got the very pleasant news that Fatau Isahaku, the teenager who has blitzed the Ghana Premier League and also the Division 1 League before then, has sealed a move to Sporting Lisbon. Why is this move significant? We'll be going into that in a bit. But it's my pleasure to welcome former national team player at under-17 all the way to the senior national team level, Mohamed Gago, into the discussion. And I'll tell you why I'm bringing him into the picture right now. Mohamed, thank you very much for your time. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, you are in Tamale, I believe.
Yes.
Yes. Mohamed Gago these days is a coach and passing on his rich experience and knowledge to the younger generation. Mohamed, before we even go into Fatau Isahaku, tell us what you do now in the coaching space.
Isahaku.
No, I'm asking, before we even go into that discussion, tell us what you do now, because a lot of our listeners have not heard from you in a very, very long time.
Oh, okay. I mean, Fatau Isahaku is a Tamale born and bred chap who has this wonderful talent of playing football. And then I came to take over as the head coach job that's 2 years ago. And then I met Fatau with the club. And when I asked where was it coming from, I was told it was taken from Utrecht Academy. Talking about Fatau is a chap that is so talented that he's God-gifted, I believe. I mean, if I remember when I was a little chap, I could see Fatau in the shoes of Abedi. He has almost identical moves. He has the power and control over the ball that no chap that I know has that thing. And I believe it's a God-gifted talent.
Okay. All right, Mohamed. I was actually asking you to let us know what you are doing now in coaching before we go into Fatau. But I think you did.
Okay.
Yes, because our listeners have not, a lot of our listeners don't know what you are doing these days. But you've given us an idea that you are coaching now. So you are with Steadfast, right?
Yes, I am with Steadfast. I'm the head coach of Steadfast.
Okay, so since you retired, before we go into the Fatah discussion, I mean, what have you been up to since you retired? Can you hear me, Mohammed?
Yes, go on.
Yes, I'm saying, what have you been doing since you retired from the national team and from football?
Well, I just immediately tried to get my coaching license, and I've been coaching ever since.
Great. So it is through this coaching that you've been identifying young talent, and then you came across Fatah, like you said, I believe.
Yes.
Right.
I mean, it is through this coaching. You know, when you are an old footballer or retired footballer, I mean, your next step is not to keep the talent to yourself.
Yeah.
You also want to see the young ones who might be a benefit to the country someday. So when you come across children or young guys like Fatah, I think you need to give back wholeheartedly, because I mean you've been through your childhood days, and football who's made us, if I may see, what we are and what we've done for the country.
Yeah.
So I think it is also good. We try to give back.
How excited were you when you heard this week that finally, there's been so much speculation about the future of this young footballer, that finally the official announcement was out that Fatah is a Sporting Lisbon player. How excited were you?
Well, when this issue came up, Liverpool were after him.
Yeah.
I think Borussia Dortmund, Leverkusen, and all that. I mean, I was totally in the middle of it. I personally even wanted to take him to Udinese.
Of course, you were biased because you were there.
No, because I was rather looking at the boy's future.
Yes.
You know, places like Udinese, you will have the confidence and the structure to build him up. But later on, we had Liverpool and Bayern, Leverkusen were all over him. So, I mean, I have to withdraw.
Yeah. You know, I mean, Asamoah Sulemuntari, Kojo Asamoah, they all, I've spoken to them all privately, and they all said that they all thought that Udinese was a place where he could blossom. But when they all heard that he was going to Sporting Lisbon, they were also happy because, that club has a very rich tradition of handling talented players like Fatah Issahaku as well. But, in your own time, when you were growing up and you were so talented, how difficult was it to control the fame that you had at that young age? And how would you liken it to Fatah's own example?
Well, it was rightly so, like you said, it was difficult. Our culture back here in Ghana is totally different from the Western world, and they take everything seriously. Like all these clubs that you see playing the Premier side and Serie A, they have the under-10s, the under-13s, and then under-19s, and then to the top. So everything is well structured. So all that was needed was the personal discipline and to be serious about what you are there to do, especially with timing and all that. Because when training starts 7, it starts 7.
Yeah.
Nobody waits for you.
You're talking about the discipline, instilling the discipline in the young one.
The discipline aspect, yes. So with Fatah, I have to sit him down and put all these things before him to let him know how serious he needs to be right now if he really wants to become the star that he wants to.
Okay, so if you are listening, this is Joy99.7 FM, 12:40 in our studios. We are speaking to former national team player Mohamed Gago, who was the coach for Fatah Issahaku, the 18-year-old Black Stars player who was officially announced as Sporting Lisbon's new acquisition on Wednesday after he penned a 5-year deal with the club with a 60 million euro release clause. We've not seen these numbers for a Ghanaian footballer in a very long time at any level. And it's exciting news indeed, particularly because, this guy is a very, very young chap. But Mohammed, before I let you go, what would you say to Ghanaians? Because, even at his age, he's playing for the Black Stars. He's played at the AFCON. He started for Ghana versus Nigeria. What do you have to say to us about the expectations being put on his young shoulders? Because people have said, well, even as we have qualified for the World Cup, he should be starting games in Qatar.
I think it's a plus for us because me in particular, I spent so many hours with him one v one in regards to his shooting ability.
Mm-hmm.
And then we try to correct certain things and the way he takes his shots and the areas he needs to get himself in and prepare the shots. That is one of his specialties. And with the set pieces. Having said that, Fatau is also someone who is a quick learner and he has passion for football. So even if it's going to take him 6 hours for him to get something corrected, I think he is always available. He gives himself up, and I think that is what has carried him so far. And then we are all glad about that, to have a young chap like him. Like I said, I started by saying I could see Abedi in him.
Yeah.
I think Abedi also started playing Black Stars at this same age. And then Fatau is stepping up to do the same thing. With the record signing, I think records are made to be broken. We are all glad he's getting that and he's getting this exposure. Coming to talk about Black Stars, I think if he's given the necessary assistance and the chance, I think you become one of the greatest players we've ever had in this country.
Wicked. That's very nice and a nice endorsement. Thank you very much for the work you've done on this young man. It's difficult here sometimes to control the talent we have because there are so many influences. But we understand that a lot of well-meaning people in society have rallied around this young man and protected him from, as they say, the quote unquote the curse of his own talent, and he's gotten here. But and we can only wish him the best, and we hope that you guys continue to mentor him from afar and near as well. And we know people in Tamale are very excited at the news, right?
Yes, they are. The news is all over. I personally sometimes even used to chase him from town to just ask him to go sleep because the next morning he's going to be with me at training. So it is a push we all wanted to see that it comes to a fruition, and thank God he's on the path now. So we'll keep talking to him and then try to straighten him up for his future.
Thank you, Mohamed Gago. Always a pleasure speaking to you.
Welcome.
So, Mohamed Gago is a former national team player. These days, he's the coach of Division 1 side, Steadfast. He was the coach for Fatau Isahaku when he blazed the Division 1 league. Guess what? It is only a year ago, in March last year, that Fatau Isahaku and his teammates won the African Under-20 African Cup of Nations. In just a year, he has become a Black Stars player, started in games at the AFCON, played in Ghana versus Nigeria Part 1 and 2, and is now a Sporting Lisbon player. A year sometimes can be a very, very short time in football. So those were his beginnings. Now let's go to Portugal and go and get what has been the story of how Sporting chased this young lad from that time when he won the AFCON Under-20 all the way to the signing and announcement on Wednesday. My colleague George Addo Jr. spoke to João Castro, a blogger who focuses on Sporting Lisbon, and they had this discussion as well. Also, just to tease what is coming on the show, we are going to do a bit of talk on e-ticketing, that is in relation to Asante Kotoko versus Heart of Oak, which is tomorrow, and the future of e-ticketing in Ghana. Already on the line, are two different people. One, the company that was in charge of the e-ticketing for Ghana versus Nigeria in Kumasi, and then an independent e-ticketing expert to talk about the challenges and the exciting future on that one. But first, George Adu Jr. and Joel Castro.
I know Fatwa because I'm do scouting. I listen many scouts talking about him, and so we observed him in the CAN under 20. It was MVP player, yes, in that tournament, and then now he's in Sporting is a great achievement for him and to Sporting to sign a player with immense talent like Fatwa.
Excellent stuff. So tell me a bit about Sporting and the youth system. I mean, how difficult is it for a young boy like Fatal to rise through the ranks and then finally join the new team, the big team?
It's our expectation are the best. The truth is that for next year, Sporting will not have Sarabia, the Spanish player, and already we signed a young English player, Marcus Edwards, for that position, the right winger. But we know that that we need another, and the young player that we chose to that position, it was Fatwa. There are external factors that condition the player's adaptation: a new country, new club, new language, new culture. But we have a plan for him and the other young players. Sporting Academy, Alcochete is one of the best academies in the world. We create Cristiano Ronaldo, Nani, Quaresma. So we are prepared to give the young players the best training system. And for Fatwa, I think now will be training with the under 23 team to prepare him for the next season. And then in the pre-season, I think he will be with the Sporting main team.
Excellent. You just spoke about having trained a player like Cristiano Ronaldo, and I saw a picture. I think Fatal showed me a picture with himself and Cristiano Ronaldo's mother. How is he involved with the club?
Okay. How Cristiano Ronaldo involved with the club? Well, Cristiano, our academy has his name, Cristiano Ronaldo Academy. His mother is a great fan of Sporting. She went to the stadium to see games many times. It's our mother, our fans' mother, because we adore the Cristiano Ronaldo mothers. Dona Dolores, in Portuguese is Dona Dolores. And Cristiano Ronaldo, I think in the future, will join Sporting. Okay, he shows Juventus did well. He shows Manchester United not well even, and I think his future will pass with Sporting. I think that these results, the elimination of champions now. The best for him is to return Sporting and end the career in the club of his heart, Sporting. But in same way, I think in the future can be business between Sporting and Cristiano Ronaldo, because he has a big company with his name, and I think could be a partner in Sporting club. The SAD in Portuguese. I think he could join and invest in our club.
Good stuff. So it's not a surprise that Cristiano Ronaldo's mother, took a picture with Fatal, because she's always there.
Yes, he's always there. Many games, and it's possible, and I think it will happen very soon.
Yeah. All right, good. So let's talk about Fatal. You have been reading a lot. You've been hearing a lot from the club officials. What is the assessment so far? What have you made of him?
Um, Fatau, I think is a great talent because style of play, for instance, right winger, he likes to receive the ball with foot and face his opponent one to one. Left footed is amazing. He could inside to can arrange space to this power shot that he have. Is very dangerous in transition. I think so. He has the ability to progress and passing, dribbling. I think he needed to demonstrate the growth in the game against lower blocks. But here in Sporting Academy, he can learn. In terms of positioning, for instance, I think he's very green yet to the European competition. Okay, because the result of his competitive context, Ghana second division. Now he's playing Ghana 7 games in Superliga. Yes, Dreams FC. But I think he needs to grow in position on the field, especially in the defensive part. In past, he's had a good pass technician, good game vision. Dribbling is very good, great ability to dribble, left foot, and then the exposition capacity to run, to go with the ball, and then shooting skills is amazing. Is one of main attributes for the young player. For us, the most surprising already in the training sessions with the lower teams of Sporting, great finish capacity, strong shoot, and it's extraordinary for a young man like him to have already this quality. And I think the shoot, the power of the shoot can be a great attribute and make problems to goalkeepers here in Portugal.
Right, so that's Joao Castro. He's a Portuguese blogger and he focuses on Sporting Lisbon, which is where is the new home for the talented 18-year-old Fatau Issahaku. And I know, it's easy and it's de rigueur even for people to scoff at his age. But the great thing is that, guess what? A couple of years ago, during the annual Milo Under 13 Championships, I was there when Fatau was playing in a very baggy Milo jersey, and he was literally a kid. He was 11 or 12 or something, oversized with a head slightly lopsided over a very thin frame and all that. And I remember the pictures that were taken. This is a true 18-year-old, and the excitement you feel from the Ghanaian footballing community is I don't think is misplaced. He scored let me check just to be sure. 20 goals in 27 games for Steadfast, which is where Mohamed Gago is coach in the Division 1, 20 in 27. Then he went on loan in the Ghana Premier League, like you heard Joao Castro say, for Dreams FC, where he scored 6 goals in 7 games before going to the Sporting Under-23s. And that is the excitement that we hear about Fatau Issahaku. We wish him all the best, and in the new generation of Black Stars players that are coming, hopefully he can be among the team that can win Ghana that elusive AFCON and other stuff as well. Still here on the Joy 99.7 FM beat on the Joy Sports link. We are focusing on matters having to do with e-ticketing.
Joy 99.7 FM.
All right, Gary L. Smith here sitting in for Nathaniel Ato, and I'd love to introduce my two guests, George and Hilary. Hello, George. Hi, how are you doing? Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon to you, Gary, and your listeners.
Yeah, so George Festus Mensah is the CEO of Ego Tickets. They were in charge of the e-ticketing for the Ghana versus Nigeria game, and we'll be hearing from him shortly. To discuss a couple of things about why we are going digital now and other things. Also, Hilary Adari is the marketing executive from Ticket Lake as well. For those of you regular listeners of Joy Sports programming, we spoke to her about 3 weeks ago. Hilary, was it? About 3 weeks ago, right?
Yes, Gary.
Yes, about 3 weeks ago, in the lead up to Ghana versus Nigeria, when the announcement was first made that, there'll be e-ticketing, just as an independent voice to get her thoughts on how things will be done and what to expect. So, first of all, George and Hilary, I'll get your thoughts after we go to Kumasi and hear from fans who have let us know what they think about the announcement from the National Sports Authority that Asante Kotoko versus Heart of Oak tomorrow will only have tickets sold electronically.
With the online ticketing is very worrisome because how to get the validity of the tickets, you cannot be too sure that the ticket that you have acquired is original, and this can bring a lot of conflict at the stadium. We have to go by the manual system of ticketing. That will be better for us.
It's not everybody that has a smartphone that necessarily can do that, because if you look at most of our local people who are interested in a local derby, most of them are not able to get access to the e-ticketing itself, and that whole process of VR code and thing is a problem. I think instead of government to just do direct e-ticketing, they should make it a mixed process. So whilst people are able to go it online, people who want to go to the place and buy it physically should be able to buy it, so that at least it will be able to incorporate a larger majority of people. But if they just do purely e-ticketing, I think it's a very big problem. But it's a great idea though, but they have to make it a gradual one so that everybody will be able to get into it.
Actually, it's not something to be happy about, because looking at what happened at the Black Star game with the online ticketing, I think it's waste much time letting people or fans enter the stadium. I think they should go the normal way with the manual ticketing, and then that would be perfect.
They should just blend it. They should sell some of the tickets at the gate at the same time. They should go by the online one, because me per se, I wouldn't. Okay, not everybody is educated to use the code to access the ticket, so it's better they come to the stadium and then buy it from there.
Right. So that's a few views from Kumasi as well. Yesterday, I should say that the Joy News editor Fifi Kumsin, once he heard us play this for the first time, said it was a bit unfair because the responses were a bit skewed and it couldn't represent the views of all the people, the match-going people in Kumasi. So I am sure there are people who are for e-ticketing ahead of the Super Clash. But yes, these were a few of the views that our correspondent at Love FM brought us as well. So now let me bring George and Hilary in. George and Hilary, you people I'm sure are ambassadors for digitization and digitalization, and you will all be for e-ticketing, but this is what people are saying. George, you first. George Mensah, I said, is the CEO of Ego Ticket, who are in charge of Ghana versus Nigeria. What is your reaction to what you've heard, the vox pop from people in Kumasi, a selection or a sampling?
Okay, thank you, Gary, and thank you for letting us get the feedbacks on the ground from people who have experienced the service. So, for every new thing, they are going to be fraught with some bit of challenges, which you need to look at, go back to the drawing board, and then work on. People are averse to change, so things and comments like this and feedbacks are about to come. And I think education and getting everybody on board is going to help us resolve some of the challenges that people have. Basically, e-ticketing is rather out there to be an all-inclusive tool to enable people to get access to tickets, match day tickets, than the physical tickets. This one, you in the comfort of your home or everywhere you are, you can just purchase the ticket without queuing or moving around to try and grab tickets on match day. People are used to the old ways. It's the same way when mobile money started. It was first challenges like this, but right now mobile money is one of the leading tools that even government is trying to tax the economy it builds from due to what it's been able to do. So challenges like this for us, It means people are experiencing the service, people are using it, and people are embracing the new change. Just that they want to move gradually from their old way of doing things to the new way of doing things. So I think we will get there where everybody will become comfortable with the process, with time and education, and getting everybody on board.
Yeah, you mentioned a few things that were also touched by some of the respondents, because they mentioned that people are not used to this, and so they would appreciate if the stakeholders, that is, the government and then the implementing agencies like your company, had done a bit more public education, and so they would want to blend the electronic and then the manual. Operationally, realistically, is that possible? For example, for tomorrow's Asante Kotoko and Hearts game, would that have been possible to do e-ticketing for some and manual for some?
For that, I can't speak to it because it's a government directive to go.
Sure. I'm saying that's what I'm saying. Operationally, is there anywhere in the world where they do some electronic ticketing and some manual ticketing?
Operationally, most places in the world where they've gone e-ticketing is full e-ticketing.
Okay.
Even though there are a bit of offline processes with the e-ticketing too. So these are some of the things we learned and trying to, going forward after some of these experiences, try to blend in a bit of offline modes into the online modes, whilst everybody will, at the end of the day, have an e-ticket to access the stadium, but then it can be in a more convenient manner that they will be used to, whilst we carry them along with some bit of education.
Great. Let me bring in Hilary Adare from Ticket Lake as well. You were with us, like I said, three weeks ago. When we couldn't speak to George because I'm sure they were hot with getting ready for Ghana versus Nigeria. And at the time, if I recall, you mentioned, the benefits of e-ticketing. That was on television. But can you remind my listeners of why, as a country, we need to move into the 21st century and embrace e-ticketing with all its challenges?
Yes, thank you for the opportunity again, Gary. As George equally mentioned, the convenience is very key when it comes to e-ticketing. The fans of the game, they are the people that actually make the game what it is. And moving electronically actually shifts the focus onto the fans that we're looking at. So convenience is key. Revenue generation, the transparency of it is also key to the stakeholders involved. There is accountability and fairness in there. So these are just a few of the points we can touch on when it comes to the benefits of going digital when it comes to ticketing.
Great. To what extent do you ticket companies, and George, I'll come to you for the same question as well, have you decided that Ghanaians are ready? You look at the mobile penetration rate in the country, the internet penetration rate in the country as well. And is this, or are these the factors that make you so confident that the grounds are ready and ripe for e-ticketing in the country?
Okay. So, Gary, I'd say we're actually behind the game. and we're more than ready for e-ticketing in Ghana. It's just the method of how we ticket. That's what matters. So George and his team, they deployed the use of codes and QR during the Ghana-Nigeria match.
That's USSD, right?
Yes, the codes. So that's just one way we could go about it. There are other ways we could incorporate, considering our terrain and then the people we deal with to make this work.
Okay.
So there are other factors we could consider in here.
This is education, so feel free. What other things could be done? George mentioned that having listened to the people on the ground and so on, there's so much scope. So what should, for example, my listeners expect? We've done QR now. We've done USSD now. What are the other options that people should mentally be tuned in for? I'll ask you and then I'll come to George for the same question as well.
Well, Gary, for one, I'm with Ticket Link and George is a direct competitor. However, if you remember when I came on your show, there were other methods I spoke of. that we could go about to offer fans a full experience when it comes to e-ticketing and sports.
Yes.
So yes, there are other ways we could engage them. So personally, if we consider the people or the stakeholders involved, we're talking about GFA, we're talking about NSA, we believe that when the markets opened up and then they actually try and test the systems that are available, they could weigh in not to do away with competition, right? But then looking at the terrain, looking at the people that we have, we can compare the systems and then actually fine-tune it to what works in our terrain or in the country.
Yeah. So before I come to you, George and Hillary, at the time when we spoke 3 weeks ago, you showed us, for example, something you had done with Asante Kotoko, a loyalty card sort of thing. And that was like one of the answers I was even expecting you to give. So if you could tell my listeners about that as well, that option that is available for people in the future.
Okay. So we have an NFC technology we incorporated for Kotoko, where all they have to do is just to come to the stadium and then tap. I was at the Ghana-Nigeria game myself, and of course, some of the issues we faced there were the matters of verification, because there were 3 steps before you enter.
Okay.
There was a verification, there was security checks, and then there was a cross-check by GRE. And we're thinking that if you're bringing an e-system on board, then you should make everything very swift.
Yeah.
All these should be matters that are dealt with on a system basis. So yes, we do have other methods of allowing fans or patrons to enter the stadium with so much ease. And then our NFC card was one. It's just a tap and go system. And would really love the opportunity to demonstrate this to both government or stakeholders involved and the general public as well.
Yeah, I mean, I know about the fact that Ticket League and Ego Tickets are competitors in the same space, but I brought you together and let you guys know ahead of time that you are both going to be on the show, because for me, the terrain is so big, the forest is so big that the pie is big enough for everybody to share. But I'm more interested in the public education bit right now. So George, let me bring you in. Hillary touched on a couple of things, and some things we also even experienced as journalists who didn't need to bring, have e-ticketing, but we had complaints as well. So could you let us know some of the learnings you had from Ghana, Nigeria, and what you think can be done to improve the user experience for those going to the stadia in future or sport events in future?
Thank you for that. And then as you briefly touched and also Hillary mentioned, there were challenges which came. I mean, like I said, it was a new thing we were introducing, and we went to the biggest game of all, being Ghana, Nigeria. And as much as we touted our successes, there were certain issues which doesn't take the shine off what we did, but then things we had to look at and resolve going forward. So like you said, access to the stadium in terms of validation and also the checks. There were bits of stakeholder misalignment, let me put it that way, which created that issue. Because like you said, you have GRA there, you have the security checks, and then you have our checkers validating the tickets. You didn't need to go through all that, but because it was the first time we were moving away from the manual way of doing things to the digitized way of doing things, definitely there will be that kind of handshake and hand-holding which is needed. GRA needed an insight. They have the access to the dashboard, which brings transparency, accountability to the whole process. So they didn't know how to play out that day, but along the way, when they realized how things were, they ended their interference in the process there. But then it had already created some bit of issues, which we didn't have full control of. But we've had stakeholder engagements after that, where we've aligned properly, and we hope that going forward, some of these things will be reduced to the minimum.
The barest minimum. So, I mean, look, for me, and I said in the preview to this discussion on the news, that I think, like Hillary said, we are so far behind that for me, Charlie, time no day. We should just move on and make our mistakes and correct them.
Exactly as you said it, and exactly as Hillary mentioned. And as much as we are competitors, it's a space where everybody is playing.
Yeah.
In the telco space, we have all the players there. playing in it. And we have been at this for the past 10 years. Ego ticketing has been around for the past 10 years. We've been preaching this. So to say, are we ready? We've been ready since.
Yeah.
But then we are just averse to change. That's the problem. And it was a bold initiative and a bold step taken by His Excellency, the Vice President, to make ticketing processes go digital. And it was, sometimes people need a hard stop and start to be able to move to do new things. So in as much as challenges are there for us to solve. I mean, that's why for entrepreneurs like us, we are here to solve such challenges. We are way off. Gary, you've been to the Western world, you've been to stadiums across, you've seen how it works. Why can't we have the same experience here? And
even they have challenges. I mean, sometimes I think at West Ham also, Charlie, exactly. I tapped my ticket and the thing was doing red. I'm exactly. Like,
With challenges, that's what I'm saying. With challenges, they will come. But the thing is, what solution do you have for the challenges? That's the best response you can have. So with challenges, they will come. We are not saying we had a near perfect experience at Ghana, Nigeria. We are also critical of ourselves. We saw some of the challenges and then we took note of it. Other stakeholders mentioned to us, observers and the patrons. So for us, I think we should look at the bright side of things. Government was able to raise for the first time a record revenue through e-ticketing. First time. It hasn't happened before. They got insight on the go. The vice president was in his office at Jubilee House, logged into the system and was seeing it in real time. And this is revenue which can go a long way to pay stadium workers, NSA, and the clubs are going to get their right shares. Infrastructure in the stadium is going to be developed so that you can have that kind of experience. See Ghana, Nigeria, see the VIP experience. To me, that wasn't the right experience people should have.
Yeah.
And there are people who can pay premium to get that kind of experience we get in the Western world. Be it at Camp Nou, be it at Banabao, be it at Stamford Bridge. Or we are not far. See the stadium that the Senegalese just launched. Yeah. Why can't we do the same and more? And we are a footballing powerhouse in Africa. So I think we've just scratched the surface. I mean, there's a lot out there. Like you said, it's a big forest and we have to explore and tap it. And then we can all shine in our respective roles.
Yeah. So this is about the users, about the fans, and people go to the stadium. So I'd love to do two things. Open the WhatsApp line is always open anyway, 055-1111997. But I'd also love to open the phone lines, 0302-216-541 for people to call in, especially those who went for Ghana versus Nigeria, to ask George Mensah, whose company was in charge of the e-ticketing. Tell them your experience if you have any. And, if you want to give any recommendations about the future, because I have said, and, I'm supposed to be neutral or objective or whatever, but I am absolutely unrepentant in saying that, we should power forward and move on with the e-ticketing agenda because it is the future as well. So WhatsApp 055-1111997 and also the phone line 0302-216-541. Let's know what you think about the directive from the NSA that all sports events, not just football actually, they said all sports events should go digital and we should be doing that. Hillary, before I go to my first phone call, let's go into the future. What kind of future do you see with e-ticketing in Ghana? And the question I would want to ask you is, you see this has had full government backing. At what point should the government back off? And should the government ever back off from this kind of agenda? Or for a country like Ghana, it won't work without the government backing? Hillary.
So I would refer to something George said.
Yeah.
It's a hand-in-hand effort. We can only do so much as to help with the user experience for sporting games. And if we're equally helping the government realize revenue they were otherwise not realizing, we could all come together and then build the right infrastructure to make the whole process very seamless from the user point to the stakeholder point. So I think the way forward is that we all should work hand in hand and then improve improve the user journey very well as as the stakeholder expectations.
Great. Phone calls already coming in. So, guys, brace yourselves, UE ambassadors. Let's see what you have to tell people. Good afternoon and welcome to the Joy Sports.
Hello.
Yes, hi, good afternoon.
Hello.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, my name is Jacob. I'm calling from Kaswa.
Nice one. Jacob, talk to me.
Great. I'm so happy with the e-ticket. Let me tell you, I started speaking about this e-ticket when I was at Sempa FM around 2007, 2008. When I did the camp 2008. At that time I was at Sempa FM, at Sempa for morning show. Listen, the fact is, once you make a call and the call is able to go to say US, UK, there's no excuse for not using e-ticketing. Let me tell you, it is the best means to account for the revenue.
Yeah.
And it's the best means to generate funds for the development of sports in this country. Let me tell you, I'm speaking as a sports development consultant. Is that okay?
Yeah.
And I know the kind of revenue waste at the gate. Could you believe that Kotoko House of Folk match? People were using dustbin to collect money. And at the end of the day, a full dustbin money got missing. Can you believe this?
Yes, I can believe it. I've heard this story many times.
It's happening in Kumasi. If it was really ticketing, will the money get lost? Listen, when you do mobile money, doesn't you go to the exact specific person that you want the money go to? Don't you have evidence to track? But when you put money in the dustbin, you have evidence to track? It's a long day. We should have done it in 2008. Is that okay?
Yeah.
There's no excuse. Let me tell you, the failures are part of what they call it, the solutions that we need.
Yeah.
There's nothing that you do on this earth that there will be no challenges. That's why God has given us brains to develop solutions for the challenges that will arise. Is that okay?
Yeah.
This is the right way to go. Tell the guys who did this, they say that I fully support them. I'm ready to educate the masses on the importance of the e-levy, on the e-ticketing. And the way forward, if you had a challenge, it is the telcos. So now the solution is the telcos must increase the bandwidth at the stadium. Okay. That is the solution. They have the capacity, MTN. They have a mobile system where they can drive the thing to the stadium, whereby the frequency allocations will be so smooth. It's a simple thing that can be done. Is that okay? We have the knowledge. We have the young guys who have the brains. Let's give them a chance to do to solve the problem. Those who are kicking against the e-ticketing are those who are stealing from the gate fees.
No, to be fair, Jacob, hello, Jacob, hold on. No, hold on, Jacob. Hold on, Jacob, hold on. We spoke to people on the street, ordinary fans, who said, and these were not officials, who said that their user experience from the first time it was implemented was such that it was not all smooth, and so they would love a blend of the electronic and the manual. So it's not only some of the officials, who are kicking against it. So we have to be fair. You know what I mean?
Yes. What our advice is that, you know what, we need to educate them that the simple challenges that they had, it is solvable within even a week or two. One, the problem they had, the telcos can help. Is that okay? The telcos, like MTN, Vodafone, they can help solve the problem within 2 days, I'm telling you. And we should educate them that it is a small challenge which will overcome in no time, and the advantages of those things far outweigh the disadvantages.
Okay, Jacob, your point is well made. We have more callers on the line. Looks like this is a very people want to go to the stadium. People want to have a good experience. So, hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the Joy Sports Link.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Hi.
This is Joshua speaking from here.
Okay, what's your name?
Joshua.
Okay, talk to me.
Yeah, mine is more of a question. May I know the fate of children if you're an adult and with the e-ticketing and you want to come along with your child to the stadium, what will be the fate of the child?
Excellent. So, but your question is, does the child have to buy, or does the adult have to buy maybe 2 tickets or something? Or you're talking about pricing or what?
Exactly so.
Okay.
Exactly so.
Okay. I'll pose it to my two experts here as well.
Right. Thank you.
Okay. But generally, are you for the idea of e-ticketing or you want us to stay manual?
So much for the e-ticketing.
Why?
Oh, like after Sean said, it broke all the loophole for corruption and money going into waste. So we all like the idea. So once you can use the Momo, also why can't you simple like the way the Momo is structured? Why can't you go through the same system? So I'm 100% for it.
Nice one. So let me begin with you, George, and then come to you, Hillary, as well. George, we had our man from Amra here asking about kits, and do you have different charges for kits? And my question would be, how would you even know if the person doing the USSD is a child or not a child?
So the stadium is sold by seats.
Yes.
So if a child is going to sit on a seat, the parent will need to buy a ticket to make the experience very comfortable. So like me and Hillary have been preaching, right? The whole full experience, having a child in the stadium, everything needs to be that perfect so that there will be that ambience for it to be child friendly. What we saw at Ghana versus Nigeria, yes, I mean, looking at the magnitude of the attendance and some of the issues fraught with, we will need to do better to make it. But for parents, I mean, you need to buy tickets as it stands now to make your child comfortable at the stadium.
Okay. I suppose the question that, Hillary, let me bring this to you, that, he was asking is that, in certain advanced stadium jurisdictions, you can buy a ticket through the electronic way and access some discount if you're a child. But I'm sure there will be some identification system to show that the child is, indeed a child under a certain age, Hillary, right?
Yes. Then again, if you consider the terrain that we have in here, we do not have any guide or laws that stipulates that, okay, a child within the ages of maybe 0 to 14 or even 12 should not pay any tickets fee. So it depends on us putting the right measures in place to make this happen and coordinate very well.
Yeah. 122 here in our studios at Joy99.7 FM. This is the Joy Sports Link. Gary Al Smith here. The number to call 0302 216 541. 0302 216 541. It's been an interesting topic ahead of tomorrow's Super Clash in Kumasi between Asante Kotoko and Hearts of Oak. Apart from the football, the hot discussion has been on the potential attendance we may have and whether it will be affected by the directive from the National Sports Authority to have tickets accessed electronically. And that's what we are speaking to our resource people, our resource persons in via Zoom. George Mensah is with Ego Ticket. They were responsible for the technical implementation for the e-ticketing for Ghana and Nigeria and the playoffs in Kumasi. And Hillary Adare is a marketing executive with Ticket Lake, who are also experts in e-ticketing as well. I would love to tap into your knowledge from other sectors, guys, and how we can use those learnings to improve the football and sporting experience. George, you mentioned that you've been in this space and this kabudo for about 10 years. So what experience did you have before you brought into the football space? Please think about that. I'll get another phone caller right now. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Joy Sports Link.
Hello, good afternoon, Gary. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. Your name, where are you calling from?
My name is Aspa, and I'm calling from Tema.
Brilliant. Shoot. Let's go.
So, Gary, first point, I am all for e-tickets. I just think it's the way to go. Sometimes it can be frustrating getting to the stadium, and you need to speak to, for want of a better word, Goro boy sometimes to get a ticket.
Yeah.
I just think it's just super cool just to have your ticket before you walk in. So that, for me, any day, any time, I'm for e-ticket. That's the first point. But I just also think that, and I've had experience in introducing electronic stuff to replace paper and the resistance by people. So I think that there has to be a lot more stakeholder engagement, GSA, NS, Sports Council, and then the developers.
Yeah.
I think together they can actually map out a much more effective strategy in terms of, and don't forget the supporters. Even in this kind of stakeholder engagement, it will be interesting if you have a couple of supporter groups being part of it as advocates or as champions. So I think it's important.
Yeah.
We should look at this as a change management process. So the bit about continuous engagement and then also education, public education is quite important. And I think some of the developers mentioned about the user experience and all of that. So as we develop this and we get a couple of people to experience it, it will be good to have, as part of the education, using people as champions in terms of being the voice of really projecting this. And I think with time, it's important. But I also know that anytime you introduce something and you have a backup plan, what you want to achieve never works a lot of the time. It never works. Anytime there's a plan B, plan A never works. So what needs to be done is a little more engagement, piloting, refining, a few more things, so that when we go full, and no full just at Accra and Kumasi and those big stadiums. So when we decide that it's full, it has to actually be full. So the infrastructure to make sure that the same user experience you get in Kumasi is the same you get at Karela. Gary, what's the name of the stadium at Karela? I don't even know.
Yeah, go ahead.
But that has to be the kind of experience seamless across. And so I think the authentication in terms of you can't do E, and then when you get to the stadium, they say, go and print the thing and come and show. It doesn't make sense. So I just think that these are a couple of thoughts that together we can work on to make it much more effective. But I think E is the way to go. Thank you, Gary.
Brilliant. A few salient points you've raised there. I'll push them to George and Hillary as well. Callers on the line. Wow, looks like we are going to have a full show. George and Hillary, you got to be ready for the questions. Good afternoon. Where are you calling from and what's your name? Thank you for joining us on the Joy Sports Link.
Yeah, good afternoon, Gary. My name is Ibrahim, calling from Chad.
Brilliant. Shoot.
All right. With regards to the e-ticket, in my opinion, I think it's a very brilliant idea. I think it's long overdue. We should have done it long ago. Reasons being that it ensures accountability, transparency, and then equity. Everybody can see the total net proceeds, and then all the sectors, the VAT, the NSA, the rating, the home team, everybody can see his share, and then you get it at the right value. And also saves time. Looking at Kotoko and Heart matches, sometimes you have to buy advance tickets. So the e-ticketing will save you time because you can sit on the comfort of your homes, your office, everywhere to purchase the ticket. And I think it's a very good idea. However, one challenge that I witnessed with regards to the Ghana-Nigeria match was that there were a lot of checks. I think there were about 2 or 3 checks that you needed to go through before entering the stadium. And I think if something could be done about it, it will help, because I would even wish that there could be some kind of contactless system where you just go, you show your ticket to a machine or a device, and the door automatically opens for you to enter the stadium. Maybe just some few security people and some few technicians will be around to assist.
Chairman, we'll get there, Charlie. We have to crawl before we walk, you know.
Yeah, but it's very important that we conscientize our minds towards that. Change is very difficult.
I absolutely agree.
Yeah, change is very difficult, but with time, with later education, people will get used to the system, and then they'll be for it. I was even surprised after the game, people who, let's say, are not in the formal sector, people who have little or no education, were even happy because, at least for once, they couldn't take their car from Santasi to stadium to come and buy a ticket before entering the stadium. They could just sit at their home, dial star 711 or something, just purchase the ticket. So I think it's a very good idea. They should try and work on the number of checks, and then, if possible, some contactless system will be.
Okay. All right. Thank you. That's a great submission. We'll go back to Kumasi to our Love FM correspondent shortly. Not now, because we have a few phone callers, and I really want to get the thoughts of those, who have...
Hello.
Yeah. Hi. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Joy Sports Link.
Good afternoon, Gary. My name is Kuku Listen, and I'm calling from Ashoma.
Lovely. Go ahead.
Yes. You see the way you are hosting this program,
Mm-hmm.
an English program. Anyone who calls in, I believe the e-ticketing is a very successful program. It is very good. Send it to your tree platform right now. Anyway, yes, you taking the cry.
No. This one, dear. I mean, there were a few shows in Kumasi. Oh, I know what you want to talk, my brother. Why you want to do that?
I will stop at a point. I will not go ahead. I'm not going ahead. Let me stop it. You understand?
Yeah,
so
go ahead.
Our problem is indeed education.
Yeah.
Yeah, the problem of this country with education. If we get 50% of our population educated, all these things will be solved. Yes, because let me tell you, this on the English platform, everybody seems to be agreeing with the system. Oh, the e-ticketing very good because you sit at your home, you press this, blah blah blah, send it to our world, and you understand what I'm saying. Anyway, that ticket link or whatever, I think they have a sponsorship deal with Kumasi Asante.
She mentioned that. Yes.
So where from their 5%? That's some 5% they will take from whatever. That is my problem. From 5%.
Oh, good. That's a good question, and it was on Twitter and it was easily resolved because
this money is being taken away by government already. Then they are going to add another 5% again. Oh.
So these are hold on, Chief. I mean, these are some of the questions I want because you see, in as much as it's normal for us as a people, especially with the media, to bash government, but when a government is putting its weight behind something like this, inevitably there'll be some kinks around. So, George and Hillary, for you as well, to what extent are you looking at making profit, and how would it sit on the freedoms of people like my caller who says that there's some 5% somewhere? Hillary, his question was to you. So would you take that?
Okay. So I believe your caller from Ashaiman, is it?
Ashaiman. Yes.
Okay. Was talking about some 5%.
Yeah.
Definitely, we're equally rendering government or the people that we work with the service, and we would need to make some revenue out of it. And it's commission based. So what happens is that for the price of every ticket, there's a commission that's deducted. Because mind you, and I think George would back me up on this one, that there are some services that need to be paid for, or integrated services that need to be paid for within the service that we're equally rendering.
Mm-hmm.
So then what we're actually getting at the end of the day isn't much, but of course, it's something we're doing to help the industry and then to equally help ourselves or sustain the businesses that we have. So we just charge a little commission on every ticket that we sell.
Okay.
So I guess that's the 5% he was talking about.
Does that make any does that clear the thoughts in your head, my friend?
The 5% is not isn't that much a problem, but the quantum, the 5 is too much for me.
Okay.
Because the NSC and the rest seem to be taking too much. 15.5% blah blah blah. When you finish, you're giving almost 55% of the money accrued at the gate to the government. And then the things rather take 45%. Then what's the essence of supporting the cloud?
Right. I mean, I get what you mean, and actually, this, to be fair to the developers, is not under
with the developers. We don't have any problem. Once they know that the developers were going to take 5%, the NSA should have said that okay, these people choose to reduce their side to 12%.
Yeah. So you know, a few callers, or the caller before you, I forget his name, made a very salient point that this is a chain. We should see it as a chain management process. Continuous engagement is what will get us to where we want to be. So I think these are all teething problems that we should look at. I have a big issue with Charlie. The charges that the NSA takes in, that's a separate conversation. Because
especially that 17.5% back.
Exactly. I mean, and I was going to talk to George about it, and thank you for calling that, George.
Okay, sir.
For the entertainment space, one of the big issues that came, for example, during Christmas, when the whole COVID question was still a question, that football matches were not being allowed to get a 100% because of COVID, whatever, but you saw the concerts and things going on. Was that, you see, it seems like for the entertainment events, even the taxes and things they charge on the tickets are far lower than the football. Have you noticed this in your 10 years, having done the football and then the entertainment space as well?
Thank you for that question. And I think the state or the government is still grappling with understanding the space war in terms of the entertainment space and how to really charge them. As of now, for my 10 years experience in that space, it's still not straightforward. They are still learning and learning. And I think it will get to a point where we need to help them as stakeholders to understand what really goes on there.
Yeah.
Sometimes they think you make so much money, but then when they get to understand what goes into it, they'll realize that the returns are nothing to write home about. Like Hillary alluded to when she was making points about the 5%. See, there are a lot which goes into making the experience for people to go through this process. It's digital, yes? People think digital, so it's things in thin air. But there are a lot of components which comes together to make it work. Like you rightly mentioned to the caller, there are other auxiliary services which need to be paid for. There are processing fees. There are SMS communication tools which you send to, you communicate. Once somebody buys, they get an SMS. You know, all those things are costs that you have to absorb. For us as entrepreneurs and pioneers in this space, for us, we just are happy with the government's backing, going this direction, and we are willing to help make it grow so that in the long term, we can make a business out of it for everyone in the space to get something and take home. In this instance, there are things I can't speak to. I don't know how government shares their allocations, NSA, those are beyond my pay grade, excuse me.
Yeah. I mean, it's public information, but yeah. I'm sure you don't know that.
Some are public information, some too are, among themselves when they do that. For me, I'm concerned about the business aspect of all this, because first and foremost, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a businessman, and I just want that collaboration between public and private entities to work. That's what we are doing. So sometimes for us, it comes as a sacrifice in the interim for the larger and greater good.
Nice one. And as well, I'm sending a message before we go to Kumasi to our correspondent in that space. He says, e-ticketing is the best thing to happen to our football. It eradicates corruption from the system. However, I will implore the NSA and GFA to collaborate to make this a success. And the GFA have asked the NSA for more stakeholder engagement, before deploying it across the Ghana Premier League centers and all that as well. Let's go to Kumasi now. Steve Zando is with Love FM. Hi, Steve.
Hi, Gary.
Yeah. I'm sure you've caught a bit of the discussion here. That Vox Pop came from your side. The Vox Pop about people talking ahead of the Kotoko and Hearts game tomorrow about the challenges as well. We have the guys who did the Ghana versus Nigeria game, which was a reference point here in studio as well. Are there any questions you would want to ask from a reporter's point of view about what people have still been saying in the days leading up to the game?
Well, first of all, Gary, regarding the e-ticketing, I think that every Ghanaian knows that it's a good thing. The idea behind the e-ticketing is to avoid the frustration that supporters go through in long queues before they acquire tickets to watch matches here on the local scene. And quite apart from that, the Vice President even made it clear on Thursday during his presentation that in terms of fund generation, as a result of the e-ticketing, we were able to generate 1.4 million Ghana cedis out of the Nigeria game. So it's a good thing. But personally, my problem has to do with the fact that it well appears we have overlooked the challenges that came to bear in the game between the Black Stars of Ghana and Nigeria. And if you speak to people here in Kumasi, that's what they tell you. That there were a lot of challenges that authorities are even aware that people, had to join long queues to verify their ticket before they gain access to the stadium and all that. The idea is to avoid that, but that day it was clear that people were in queues. Okay, people could not really enter the stadium because internet connectivity was very slow at the Baba Yawa Sports Stadium.
Yeah.
So verification became a bit of a problem. At some point, supporters had to force their way through, and that's why we even picked reports that gates were broken and all that.
Yeah.
This was because these supporters were able to, gain access to the stadium because their tickets could not be verified.
Yeah.
Okay. So the people that I've spoken to here on the street of Kumasi tell me that they expect by now the stakeholders, the National Sports Authority, the Ministry of Youth and Sport, the Ghana Football Association, to by now, to have engaged each other to make deliberate attempts to solve some of these problems. But the conversation has really been on the funds generated on that day instead of the challenges that came to bear. And that is why they are not confident of tomorrow's game, that they will go there.
So basically, it's a public education thing. It's a public education thing, right?
Exactly. That's what they have been telling me.
Okay, good. I mean, I think that's what everybody has been saying here as well. But there's no way for you to know, obviously, how many tickets have been bought. But from what you are picking, despite the initial inertia that we had from fans, does it seem like tomorrow we'll have a good attendance at the game, at 3 p.m. kickoff?
Gary, it's definitely not at all. I mean, based on the information that I picked this morning on Kickoff on Live FM, we picked the information that in terms of registration, the numbers are not encouraging. And that is why, I mean, you see, Gary, I cannot sit here as a journalist and pretend to be happy with the kind of publicity the clubs themselves are giving to this game. Gary, we are talking about the biggest fixture on the domestic scene.
Zando, I've not even bothered talking about the football that will be played tomorrow itself. That's a whole different conversation because, we've listeners of Joy FM know that we've talked about this for probably the 26 years that this station has been in existence. How the clubs don't even make players accessible and all that. I just want us to focus on this leg, the e-ticketing thing, and all that. As for that one, we'll talk about it.
Okay, then I get a point. So the information that we have picked indicates that the numbers are not encouraging in terms of registration. As this morning, Dalali Atiasi made it clear that a little over 3,000 people have bought tickets. Wow. And he put that across because of the information that he got on kickoff this morning. So we are talking about a facility that takes a little over 40,000. And as we speak, you cannot get more than 3,000 people purchasing tickets towards this game. And basically because a lot of people have issues with the e-ticketing. So I don't expect a lot of numbers tomorrow at the Baba Yawa Sports Stadium.
Okay, so stay with us, Zando, as well. And the phone lines are still open, 0302-216-5418. It's 18 minutes to the end of the hour of the show here on Joy 99.7 FM, the Joy Sports Link. Gary Al Smith here. Let's listen now to the man who has been champion in all these, the vice president, and what he said in his economic address a couple of days ago.
To address the inefficiency and corruption within the ticketing regime for football, the Ministry of Youth and Sports, in collaboration with the National Sports Authority and the GFA, piloted an e-ticketing system for the recent World Cup qualifying match between Ghana and Nigeria at the Kumasi Sports Stadium. People who wanted to buy tickets could do so on their mobile phone, and there was no need to queue or waste time for tickets or to buy them from the black market. I could watch from the dashboard hour by hour as the tickets were being sold, and I knew immediately when the stadium was full. You could watch it. It was a pilot, but it was a very successful pilot. And guess what? It yielded the highest revenue of 1.423 million Ghana cedis, the highest revenue for any football match in the history of Ghana. So in the past, where was the money going?
That's a big question. Anyways, Zando, so finally though, after this game, what would you suggest? I mean, this is outside the realm of, the developers who are with me on the line, but what would you suggest should be the kind of public education we should have? Because one of the callers before you came on said that we can sit on an English platform, and almost all my callers have 100% said they are for it. But, when you go onto the local language platforms and programs, you might get an entirely different reception, right? Hello, Zando, can you hear me?
Hello, Gary.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
So the reason I wanted to link publicity to this discussion is that, the Vice President made it clear that, we got 1.4 million Ghana cedis. And most of these people who watch the Black Stars game are in Kumasi.
Yeah.
So what is happening to Asante Kotoko versus Accra basically because of, publicity. Now, Gary, what I want authorities to do, the e-ticketing is something which is really good that we have to encourage. but they should make it clear to the public that they are making an attempt to solve the challenges that came to bear when Black Stars played in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Quite apart from that, at the early stages, some of these innovative ideas should be implemented gradually. How about, going by the e-ticketing, online purchasing of tickets, but on match day, printing manual tickets as well for people to, come around and buy. So then when you go there and there are internet challenges and all that, people can easily buy tickets and enter the stadium. I know that would be unfair to people who have bought tickets online and all that.
Yeah.
But at the early stages, we can look at some of these things. But what I would suggest is that there should be that stakeholder engagement. The National Sports Authority, the government through the Ministry of Youth and Sports, the Ghana Football Association, and they should make deliberate attempts, educate people for them to, get to understand the details of this particular online scene. Because, Gary, our demography is a bit different from the Europeans. When it comes to Kumasi, most of these people, like your listener indicated, speak Twi. And they would expect authorities to come on radio and explain to them for them to understand how the thing works. If you don't do that, and the only thing that we hear is that, big game, as I'm saying, that's what you want to do, you will not get the numbers. So, yes, there should be that education on mass radio. That's my suggestion.
Lovely. Steve Zando is our correspondent at Love FM in Kumasi. Thank you very much for your time. It's been good having you. Let's revert to the phone calls, and then I go to George and Hillary. 0302-216-541. 0302-216-541. If we have some callers coming in, we will bring them in. But George, one thing that I found interesting, even before the game, was that a few people, knowing how our Ghanaian system is, opted to, on their own, print the ticketing information on paper just so that they could have access. And indeed, when they did the phone version, they had problems. But when they showed the paper, it could be verified. Do you believe, like Zando says from Kumasi, that we could do this as well? And how realistic should this be? Because to be a duplication of effort, isn't it?
Exactly. Like I said, like before attested, there were challenges, and those are the things we need to work on. But trying to run it, having a printed version of the ticket and then selling on will create a systematic chaos and operational difficulty, which will stop the whole experience. We need to educate people, which has been highlighted severally, and looks like education is top priority in terms of this engagement. All stakeholders need to come together to help move the momentum with the people in terms of the customer experience, encourage people that all issues which we are fraught with are being dealt with, are being worked on. Because, see, I don't want to be here to point fingers, but a whole lot happened, which we are all not happy about. And as the ticketing partner for that, we were not so enthused about it. But in terms of
let's just say there were teething problems.
There were teething problems, and for everything you crawl before you walk. So we are ready to solve those problems, and then we have a better experience management process for the customers going forward.
To what extent, Hillary? Let me come to you on this one. To what extent does the telecom infrastructure? So do the telcos come in? You heard the earlier caller, Jacob, say that, especially at highly subscribed games like Ghana versus Nigeria, it was so chaotic that, as you may have heard on Joy FM, our colleagues from the BBC who came all the way and other international stations could not run their commentary because there was absolutely no network in the stadium. We had to run commentary here with phones. We had flown gadgets from here at Joy FM all the way to Kumasi, and nothing worked. Should they put a booster there?
So Gary, we don't believe a booster is the way to solve this challenge. Okay, so obviously people have called from different places, giving us different challenges they face. Yeah, and I believe this is as a fact that we are different ticketing companies, okay? And we all have a different user journey we walk through. So maybe what George and Ego used or walked through is not what we did, okay? So of course you should consider the market you are in first, knowing that one, people are averse to change, especially when it's a technological one. People are averse to using digital means to do things, right? And these are all factors that should be considered before deploying a digital solution to be used on the market.
Mm-hmm.
For one, Ticket Lake has offline verification processes. So something like what happened at the gates in Kumasi would obviously not happen with us. I do get the fact that telcos are key in this, but you should know that internet penetration in the country is low. And these are factors that you should consider before deploying your technology onto the market. So as I would emphasize on, it's the user journey. So what party A deploys is different from what party B might deploy.
All right.
So we feel that the most important thing that should have happened before allowing e-ticketing to go commercial on the market is that you have to bring in all the developers of e-ticketing platforms, okay? And then go through, not to say that what Ego did is
of course, we got that.
Yes, that's the first of its kind. But then you should look at all these situations. You should run the journey right from a user purchasing it, a user who is an illiterate, a user who is literate, and then you consider all these things in, even to the stakeholders involved, and how our vice president rightly said that he could monitor sales from his dashboard.
Real time.
So you have to walk this entire thing and then implement it. So for us, with all these challenges that people are actually lamenting or complaining about, we believe that if the market is opened up to test the solutions that we have, then obviously we could even partner as e-ticketing companies and then find a common ground with government to make sure that all this feed coming from various places is factored into one portal for them to see, and then we can well solve
a centralized portal. I think you mean.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay. All right. Cool. 0302216541. We have just about 8 minutes to close the show here. 0302216541. Let me go to George as well. So George, I was asking before Zando came in about your experience from the entertainment side. So if I may interrogate that, apart from entertainment, deploying tickets for entertainment events, is there anything else you've done that can help us in the sporting sector do this thing better? And what is it?
All right. So for us, Ego Tickets is ticket events and people. So it's just not entertainment events. We do all kind of events, from religious, entertainment to corporate events. We've been doing all that, and sporting events too. So like you said, this was the major sporting event that we did. And with our background in the entertainment and other sectors of doing ticketing, we see how the whole experience should play out from the customer to the stakeholder, that's the government perspective. So these are things that we are evolving and developing with our first experience that we've seen. We had a blueprint which we are still engaging government on.
Yeah.
It's not been finalized, but once it's finalized, we would see what will, transpire in the sporting phase. We want to bring close to the same experience that you have when you go to the Western Worlds to our footballing in Ghana, where we will be able to generate enough income to help support the clubs and help support the sporting fraternity.
Beautiful. More questions are coming. I'm told that there is a caller on the line. Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the Joy Sports Link.
Good afternoon, my brother.
Hi.
Hey.
Talk to me. What's your name?
This is Jacob Ocean.
Oh, you're back.
Yeah. What I want to say is that, the internet problem that people were talking about in connection with the scanning. One, the software providers and then those companies that they should have counted the number of gates around the stadium and provided enough scanning, and then they should have foresaw that they needed internet booster. And that booster, let me tell you, not that we are now going to look for it. It is here in Ghana. Okay? If you go to Legon Stadium, MTN, mounted about just 2 or 3 of such internet boosters at that stadium, even Legon Stadium. How much more Kumasi? So Kumasi, they should have even mounted about 10 internet boosters. MTN, they have it. It's on a wheel. 4-wheel structure where they just face it to your car and you can drive it to Kumasi. They have it.
So Jacob, I don't want to be revisionist, but I think that we have established long in this program that, you know, there are so many things that could have done to have enhanced the user experience. I am 100% focused on solutions at this point. You know, so I don't want us. Yes, I don't want us to rehash. And Hillary has just mentioned. Hold on, that there are even offline solutions that do not need booster, like you are saying. You know. So yeah, go ahead if you can learn for me.
Good. That one too can also work perfectly. And then in addition, I think we need to do a lot of education in the local language. You see, that's the next solution we need to do. Because the other person who is in a village, who is having a problem with it, doesn't know who to contact and have it solved.
Okay.
But they're the people who go to the stadium the most. You get it?
Yep.
So we need to blend the education with the local languages. And then the software developers must also fight and increase the bandwidth. Normally, it is a tradition for Ghanaians. Any software that comes to Ghana first, instead of buying a huge bandwidth, they buy a small bandwidth. Then when the challenges are coming, it's like YX. Then a year or two, then they go and increase it more. Why not go big time? Because you are dealing with huge numbers.
All right, so Jacob, I think your point is well made. We have a couple of other callers on the line. Thank you so much, Jacob, for coming. George and Hillary, I'll come to you for closing comments after this call. Hello, the caller is gone. Okay, so I mean, George and Hillary, any closing remarks, George?
All right, so thanks, Gary, for engaging us on this. I think it's been very insightful and educative for people, and for us to also have first-hand interaction with the patrons of our services. So for me and for Ego Tickets, for us, it's been a great experience to be part of this project. And like we said, we are ready to collaborate with all stakeholders, partners, to make this experience a space better for all of us. And then, I mean, the sky is the limit for Ghana football, Ghana business, and e-ticketing in Ghana. Thank you.
Okay, Hillary.
Yes, thank you, Gary, and thank you, George, as well for being on this call. What I and Ticket Lake would like to say is that we strongly believe that in order to tackle all these challenges we're facing in the sports industry with e-ticketing, we believe that there should be more transparency and an open market for people to come on board and then actually showcase what they have and how they tackle the challenges that we're having with the sporting industry. One thing I forgot to add was the fact that, you know, for even revenue generation, it's more of a reactive process we're talking about here. And at Ticket Lake, we believe that it shouldn't even be limited to that, and that we can proactively help the football clubs, the sporting clubs and agencies, as well as governments, generate more revenue. So what we would like to close our comments with is that we think the government should actually look at the solutions that we have, sit the people together, and then if we can have a central point where they can get the feed from all these people in order to make e-ticketing a success, I believe that's something we should look at.
Okay.
And as one of your callers rightly said, if you have a plan A and a plan B, and your plan A is more or less likely to fail for plan B to stand. So I think we should really go hard at the initiative we've already started with, And we don't want to get something close to the Western world. We're actually competing with the Western world.
Wicked.
So we believe this is something we should all take a look at. And once again, thank you for this opportunity.
It's been good having you, Hilary Dare, Marketing Executive of Ticket Lake. They deploy e-ticketing services, as do Ego Tickets, who were represented by their CEO, George Festus Mensah, and they were in charge of the Ghana-Nigeria game. My name is Gary L. Smith. Thank you guys for making this show good, interactive, very insightful, and educative. We'll talk again next time. I've been sitting in for Nathaniel Ator, and the news at 2 will be on. Oh, no, not now. Okay. All right. So we'll be having Showbiz A to Z pretty shortly. Thank you for your time and all the best. This is Joy 99.7 FM. Stay with us.
Joy 99.7 FM.
Keep this frequency clear. 99.7. The station with the... I love this station.
Joy 99.7 FM. Joy 99.7 FM.
Gary, can we go off?